Welcome to Jamal Does Vinyl. I'm your host, Jamal Radio Raheem. Now, Jamal Does Vinyl is a vinyl record show where I show you my collection, me going to record stores, my recent buys, me having conversations with people. As long as it's vinyl talk, we gonna do it. Now, in this episode, I'm showing you my favorite 20 from my collection. I'm gonna split into 2 episodes because I be talking a lot, and I'm not trying to make these episodes 50-minute long, but it's going to be my favorite 20, so this is going to be my first 10, then the next 10 will be in the next episode. But enough of me talking, let's get into this episode. Alright, the first vinyl I'm going to show you is also my first vinyl that I got. It's also my favorite album. This album means a lot to me. It's Low End Theory by Tribe Called Quest. This album is literally like when I fell in love with music. It's when I really started paying attention to music, when I heard this album, like, completely, like, fully straight through. Because I obviously heard it before, like, growing up in a black household. You're going to hear hip-hop and R&B and all that type of stuff. But when I finally heard this album, like, straight through for the first time on my own, is when I really fell in love with music. Is when I was like, oh, this album is fantastic. This is when I fell in love with hip-hop. It got me into samples. It got me into everything. So, shout out to Tribe Called Quest. Low End Theory, R.I.P. to Phife Dawg. This next album, To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick Lamar. It's one of them. Bam, you know what I'm saying? This album is fantastic, you know, from top to bottom. From the intro to the last song on this bad boy. Like the conversation with Tupac. That is dope how they did that. Like, I don't know how they did that, but that is so dope on how they did that. The album cover is one of my favorite album covers of all time. Like, this has so many bangers on here. Like, none of these songs on here should have been on the radio. When you think about it, like, All Right isn't, like, for the radio. The stuff that he's saying in that song. You wasn't on the radio. I shouldn't have been on the radio. Like, at least the version that's on this album wasn't on the radio. But King Kunta shouldn't have been on the radio. But, like, this album's fantastic. You had to put it on the radio. Shout out to Kendrick, one of the greatest of all time. This album, to me, solidified him. And to me, this is, like, his third release. Because I count Section 80 as an album. And that, he was already a top 15 MC of all time. Off of just Good Kid, Mad City, Section 80, and To Pimp a Butterfly. This bad boy right here. Next album, this is my favorite mixtape, man. I was, like, so ecstatic. And this is that Friday Night Lights. J. Cole. I was so happy when I got this. You don't understand. I went to Portland. Anytime I go to a city or a state, I try to go to a record store. I went with no intentions on getting too much. I think I got Nevermind by Nirvana. I think I got Tribe's first album. And then I saw this bad boy. It was like a light shining on it. And I had to get it. I've never seen this album in person. I still haven't seen it anywhere in person to this day. This mixtape, Friday Night Lights. This is just fantastic. I can't wait for this to come on streaming. I'm going to listen to Premeditated Murder every day. Every day. My favorite J. Cole song is probably on here, and that's Too Deep for the intro. I can relate a lot to that song. This is a fantastic project, though. J. Cole, Friday Night Lights, Cold World. This next album, I mean, if you know me, you know I love this album. Confessions by Usher, the greatest R&B album of all time. I said what I said. Not a bad song on here. Not one bad song on here. Usher did his thing with this album. The worst song on here is Yeah. That's the worst song on here. That's also the biggest song on here. This album is fantastic. There's not a miss on here. All the songs on this album could have been a single. Matter of fact, let me count the singles on here. Yeah, Confessions Part 2, Caught Up, Superstar, Bad Girl, I think Burn, I skipped Burn, My Boo. He got about 7 of them singles already on here. And there could have been 7 more. Usher is that great. Confessions is that great. To me, he got 2 certified classics. I say 3 personally, but I'm a fan of Usher. But he got 2 that nobody can even argue. 8701 and this bad boy. Confessions. Illmatic, Nasty Nas. You know what I'm saying? Like, This album right here is probably like the greatest hip hop album of all time. He got the producers of like the who's who of producers on here. You know what I'm saying? Premier's on here, Pete Rock's on here, Q-Tip's on here, Large Professor's on here. Like he got the who's who of producers. I'm sure I'm leaving off names and it's probably gonna kill me after I get done recording this. But and then the classic songs on here, you know what I'm saying? You got New York State of Mind, which to me, that is a top 10 hip-hop song of all time. I don't care. Top 10 hip-hop song of all time. Life's a Bitch with AZ. Come on. The World Is Yours. Halftime. Literally the first 4 songs, if you don't count like the intro, the first 4 songs on this should go into a hip-hop museum hall of fame. Storytelling by Young Nas is fantastic. This is what hip-hop is supposed to be. This is what hip-hop is supposed to be. This album, Illmatic, Nasty Nas, y'all already know. I don't know what you heard about me, but can't get $1 out of me. 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. I will be going to see 50 Cent in September. So it'll be also my second time seeing him this year. 50 Cent, great album, you know what I'm saying? Take all this like trolling and stuff that he be doing online, and, you know, because he does a lot of it. This album is fantastic. Fantastic. From What Up Gangsta, Patiently Waiting with Eminem, Many Men, Wish Death Upon Me, In the Club, how I forget that. That was, when that song came out, it seemed like the world just stopped. Like, everybody was like, G-Unit. G-Unit. Like, after that, because, like, he changed the game, you know what I'm saying? Especially on, like, my young self at the time. Like, I completely stopped listening to Ja Rule. And it wasn't because I didn't like his music. 50 Cent got us to stop listening to a whole artist off of one album. That's how popular he was. Like, this album is fantastic. Now, it's top heavy. It is top heavy. But that is fantastic. Like, who puts a diss track on a studio debut like he did with a Dr. Dre production? That's crazy. 50 Cent, G-Unit, we in here. I'm about to start rapping. This next album, shout out to my girlfriend. She got me this, Volume 2, Slum Village. This is the album I looked for the longest. The longest. Like, this is every hip hop fan. They love this album. To me, this is one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time. I don't care what anybody said. If I did a top 50 hip hop albums of all time, this is on there. This is on there. Thelonious, oh my gosh. With Common, them boys was spitting. And that beat is fire. One of my favorite Dilla beats of all time. Slum Village, Volume 2. Y'all don't understand, man. I wanted this album for so long. I couldn't find it. And where I did find it, I did not find it at the price that I was willing to pay. But shout out to my girlfriend. She got me this on my birthday. Woo! Next album. It's The Rock. It's Jay-Z, the Black Album. Now, his retirement album, even though he came back literally like right after. Like, I don't even think he retired that long because he was on Dear Summer by Memphis Bleak. He didn't really retire, to be honest. But Jay-Z, Black Album, my favorite Jay-Z album. I don't think it's his best album. I think The Blueprint and Reasonable Doubt is better. You can make a case American Gangster is better, to be honest. But my favorite Jay-Z album, he was gone. This would have been the perfect send-off. The perfect send-off. Like, my first song would have been the perfect song to end on. Like, 99 Problems is on here. PSA is on here. Encore, Do You Want More is on here. Like, there's not a bad more. There's not a bad song on this thing. What more can I say? What more can I say? Next album, Baduism, Erykah Badu. I love Erykah Badu. Now, recently, she be saying stuff like that be, making me feel a little weird. When she said that stuff about skirts and stuff like that. But whatever. This album is fantastic. There's not a bad song on here. This is my introduction to neo soul. Her and D'Angelo are my introduction. And then I obviously did like my own diving on it and stuff like that. But this album is fantastic. Like, they don't make albums like this anymore. Like, everything on here is just fantastic. Like, this, she could have probably walked away with just this album. And it helps that she's fine as hell. Fine as hell. You know what I'm saying? There's something about this album, though. Like, I can listen to this album, go to bed to it. I can wake up to it. Like, this album makes me want to smoke weed, and I don't even smoke weed. Like, this album is fantastic. Erykah Badu is great. Great, great, great. My favorite song on here, Switches. That's how great the album is. At this moment, as we're speaking, it's probably On and On. But if you would have asked me a couple days ago, it was Next Lifetime. So, Baduism, Erykah Badu. Shout out to you, Miss Badu. And the last album I'm going to show you, on this episode at least, is this bad boy right here. What's Going On? Marvin Gaye. This album is just fantastic. Fantastic. This is the collector's edition. I wasn't going to open this. Now, my patience and me waiting, because I was literally going to just buy another copy. I couldn't wait. I just had to listen to it. I wanted this album for so long. I even have the live version of this album. Like, I think this album is important. I think this album should be listened to by everybody. Everybody. The stuff that he's talking about on this album is still impacting us today. Unfortunately. Literally the title song, What's Going On. Literally. Like, I have that also on single. I literally love this album so much. I think Marvin Gaye is the greatest to ever do it. I think his voice is just that amazing. I think his talent is that amazing. I think him being a troubled man, him being an imperfect person as well, definitely contributes to his legacy. Because like most of our like superstars we got like now, and most of the superstars even back then, they're like this perfect image. And Marvin Gaye was not that at all. At all. You know what I'm saying? We can talk about all this transgressions and all that stuff with Marvin Gaye. But What's Going On? Marvin Gaye. One of the greatest, not just R&B, not just pop, not just whatever genre you want to put it in, album of all time. This is one of the greatest albums of all time. And this has been Jamal Does Vinyl. I've been your host, Jamal Radio Raheem. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're on TikTok, you can share this too. Instagram, all that stuff. Whatever clip comes by you, you know what I'm saying? Just come support me. Watch the whole thing. If you want to be on here, want to have a conversation about vinyl, because I love talking about vinyl, holla at your boy. You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, pretty much everywhere at The Harris Show. If you want a response from me, you're probably going to get a response faster either on YouTube comments or if you hit me up on TikTok, because I'm probably going to see it faster on there because I'm addicted to TikTok. So, thank y'all for watching. Catch y'all next week. Peace out.